Bizarre Brain Comics. Good morning, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, well, I tell you, I was going through and do some sorting and arranging stuff a couple days ago, and I come across a few bags of comics that had been mislaid, had not been put into the boxes in which I have set aside for upcoming episodes, books to read and cover on my channel here. And so I put them together, because I don't even remember where I got them, but I bought them a few months ago from various sources, and I thought I would do a haul video of some of these books, and then I'll cover some of the others later. So that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, and we're starting off here with this book. Actually, this is a 4-issue miniseries of The Green Hornet. The Green Hornet, and most people say The Green Hornet, and most people think of the 60s TV show in which Bruce Lee played the character of Kato. But of course, the Green Hornet goes back to the 30s, starting as a radio show that was a spinoff from the Lone Ranger. And but these books are they've been in comics. Green Hornet's been in comics off and on for decades from various publishers. And this is a 4-issue miniseries that goes back to World War II. This is from Now Comics from 1992, so over 30 years ago. And the 4-issue miniseries, written by Ron Fortier and drawn by Jeff Butler. And Jeff Butler did these marvelous colored, I'll get it yet, painted covers. And Now Comics, when they had the license, and they did, just as I guess some of the more recent publishers have as well, they cover several generations, because they have stories going back to the 30s and 40s, like this here, to the original Green Hornet, and they have covered the original Green Hornet and the one from the 60s period, and then a more contemporary time. So it's like covering 3 or 4 generations of Green Hornet. And you see here, this has this unusual looking mask on here, and that is the type of mask, because they never mentioned in the radio show, never told you what kind of mask he wore. And when they had the movie serials in the 30s and 40s based on, this is the type of mask that he wore that covered his entire face. Although I prefer, and I think most people probably prefer, the version that was used in the TV show, 60s TV show. So, and I haven't read these yet. Okay, and the writer, Ron Fortier, I've mentioned him before, because I had a couple haul videos from what I got at the Wicked West Comic Expo just a few weeks ago, and Ron Fodier was one of the creators there, and I talked with him a little bit, and we chatted, and about some of his stuff. And he is the writer of this miniseries. He really likes the pulp era, and he does a lot of very pulpy things. So here is the first issue of this. It says first collector's edition, part 1 of 4. It wanted the man known as the Green Hornet, and you can see here's the swastika covered up by the Hornet emblem. So he's taking on Nazis here in this one. And this is a very, very beautiful and Steranko-esque, if you ask me, cover, still done by Jeff Butler for issue 2, The Secret Weapon. And there's some really nice interior art on these. It's just beautiful covers. I like that. Oh, and that's kind of neat with the Hornet emblem over the moon, kind of reminiscent of the bat signal. And then here's issue 3, The Terror Express. Another great, lovely painted cover. More action, more dynamic. And then the long-awaited final chapter. I don't know if there was a part 4 finale for FDR. And this is a really, really nice painted cover. And looks like it's introducing a Captain America-like character in this one. So I'm going to have to read these and do an episode just on them. And then here we have number 1, Harris, Vampirella of Draculon. And I think, no, it's not. This is from 1995. And I like this cover. And I always like Vampirella, but I really prefer the Vampirella from the Warren magazines. I haven't kept up with the Vampirella in more recent times. And this is reprinting this series is reprinting stories from the Warren era of Vampirella. Has some Tom Sutton, and I don't know the other artists offhand, but yeah, some really nice stuff. And here we have one. Is kind of this is Intrepid Comics. It's called Battle Axis, and this is kind of what some people call a power comic or an outlaw comic. It's probably an individual or a small group of individuals combining together to self-publish one or more comics. And I look forward to covering that one. And here we have Harrier Comics presents Conqueror. This is this at first blush kind of looks, this is from 84. This at first blush just kind of looks like what I just described for the Battle Axis. But this is British comics, and a lot of their style was slightly different. It is clear and professional, and rather slick with some minor details. This, I know, just glance through it, this has a couple of artists working in here. This looks like possibly a mixture of science fiction and fantasy. I'm not positive on that, but I also look forward to reading that. Because I would like to cover that one as well. And then we have a blank card. It's not supposed to be there. Oh yeah, and Dakota North Investigations. I think I had gotten rid of most or all of my Dakota North books, because I really liked this series at the time when it came out, and It's an action-packed detective series. I'm not sure whether it was a limited series or only ran 6 or 7 issues. But I enjoyed it, but I think I weeded out all or most of my other copies, so I picked this up because I want to cover that as well. I like to cover several genres. And then we have here DC's version of Fighting American. And of course, Fighting American was another star-spangled superhero created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. This one was, I think, it's from the 50s, and he was primarily at that time a commie buster. And DC, this is part of a 6-issue miniseries, and DC had licensed the character and did this miniseries. I'm not sure if they did more than this miniseries or not. I don't remember. I had this in before too, and I've got the hardback book reprinting the Kirby era, the Kirby version of Fighting American, and I want to cover both versions sometime. And then here we see is issue 4 in a 4-issue limited series of Crash Ryan from Epic Comics, and this had been in the early mid 80s, and of course Epic was a subsidiary of Marvel Comics. They're doing just a variety of things from them. This is Crash Ryan by Ron Harris, and I had this. I think I still have it, but I come across this because I had been wanting to cover this for quite a while, and of course this is set in the 30s or 40s, is in the tradition of some of the adventure comic strips from the newspapers from the 30s and 40s, and like the adventure movie serials from that same time period. And I think it has a little bit of science fiction thrown in, especially like in the design of this aircraft that's crashing here. Crash Ryan. And that, I look forward to covering that one as well. All these are some great stuff. So, in the coming months, we will be delving into these as well as a bunch of other comics. And I look forward to covering them all because, as I've told you many times, my tastes are very eclectic. I like covering the full spectrum of comic books, and not focus exclusively on the superhero titles. Just because people think of, when they think of comics, they think of superheroes, and often forget the wide gamut that comics covers. But the past 4 decades, anyway, superheroes have really crowded out almost everything else, and absorbed some too, because a lot of what would have been just adventure strips, adventure type stories, have been rolled into the superhero titles, as well as a lot of the elements that were popular in the romance comics, and even some of the humor. And I like the humor. I like the kids comics. I like the adult comics. I like the underground comics. I like the adventure comics. I like the funny animal stuff, both the adult versions and the kid versions. I like the religious comics. I like the Classics Illustrated type, adapting classic works of literature, and of course the Western and the war comics. And all of these get rolled up into the same genre. And one can't forget the horror. The horror of it all. Oh, thank you for joining me. So please like, share, and subscribe. And I want to thank everyone who subscribed out there, because at the time of this recording, I've just broken the 600 subscription level. Oh, thank you all so much. And please share with your friends. Because I do. I like your friends too. And leave comments. Please leave me a comment. What books of these do you like best? Have you had some of these before? Are they entirely new to you? And if you want to comment on my goofy voices, that's okay too. So thanks, and remember, comics are art.